Welcome to the show, everybody. Happy Friday. Joseph Robert, the fantasy football counselor. Today we're talking about starts and sits for fantasy football week 4. Can you believe it already? We're at week 4. I mean, it just flew. When the football season starts, it just goes. It flies by. So we're already at week 4. Watch Thursday Night Football. My man, James Robinson, going off for 20 points. Pretty excited about that. Hopefully you guys are as well. Hopefully we get another big week out of Saquon and Najee. So in this episode, guys, what happens here on Friday is I go over all the optimal players to start at each position and all the tough matchups. And this is really going to help you guys if you're torn between starting this guy or that guy. So I get a ton of questions. I say, hey, do I start this guy or that guy? And they're like evenly matched. They've both had similar weeks. And this show that's going to help you because I tell you if their matchup's optimal, and that's going to help you guys make a more educated decision, okay? The show is brought to you by DraftKings. Download the DraftKings app. If you got a cell phone, everyone's got a cell phone, pull over, download the DraftKings app, use promo code FFLion. They are the official daily fantasy sports partner of the NFL. I love it. I get to draft every single week, guys. Immerse yourself. Enhance that game watching experience. Draft the optimal roster under your virtual salary cap and see how it stacks up against the competition. And you have a shot at millions of dollars worth of prizes if you use promo code FFLion. Dive in right now, guys. Again, promo code FFLion, DraftKings app. Go download it. There's a minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details. One more thing, guys. Pristine Auction. Got to do an intro for them. They're in the background here. You have a shot to win amazing swag from them. Signed swag. This is a signed Godwin jersey. Okay, and behind me, I've got a signed Odell helmet, which we're giving away in about a week. So, and then we're going to give more. Wait till you see some other stuff we got going. I'm going to give you a sneak peek. It's a Kyler Murray signed helmet, and I got even bigger things. So, guys, link below, pristineauction.com. Use promo code SWAGLION to be entered. Again, pristineauction.com. Sign up. It's free to sign up, and I believe you get $10 off your first auction. It's pretty wild. And, of course, guys, use promo code SWAGLION. Then you're entered for this swag. Okay, guys? All right, let's get to the show. Starts and sits. Let's start off with the quarterback position. I'm going to go through all the positions, the optimal plays. So starting off with quarterback, let's talk Matt Ryan. He had a mediocre, slightly above par week last week. So Matt Ryan has actually one of the, if not the easiest matchup versus position. Looking for a big week out of him. We got Jalen Hurts, my guy, got a lot of his rookie cards. Excited about Jalen Hurts this week. He's playing KC. Good matchup. Taylor Heineke, 23-pointer last week. Got a good matchup against Atlanta. So that's going to be very interesting. Atlanta, Washington, both quarterbacks, very, very optimal matchups against the secondary. And it should be a high-scoring game, theoretically. Mac Jones, not excited about him. I mean, this is more for deeper leagues, 2 quarterback leagues. He does have a good matchup. Big Ben, good matchup. Russell Wilson, who's been pretty solid all season, good matchup versus San Fran secondary. Baker Mayfield, Jacoby Brissett versus Indy. Justin Fields, who I wouldn't start, it's hard to trust, but he does have a favorable matchup versus Detroit. So this is the week. Now, we don't know if Justin Fields starting. At the time of this recording, Nagy, who I think should be fired, has stated, go back and listen to my preview show one or two back. Nagy has not even decided who he's going to be starting. Is it going to be Dalton, him, Foles? We don't know. And Zach Wilson, who's been ice cold, has got a favorable matchup. Okay, some mid-range matchups. Kyler Murray, who's been red hot. Jimmy Garoppolo, Aaron Rodgers, James Winston, Carson Wentz, Justin Herbert, all mid-range. And the guys that got it in tough the most, Lamar Jackson, Daniel Jones, Ryan Tannehill, Davis Mills, Dak Prescott, Tom Brady, Derek Carr, Matt Stafford, and Pat Mahomes. Some big names with some tough matchups. Again, Pat Mahomes, like I said, 9th hardest versus position. Stafford versus Arizona. Like Tom Brady versus New England. Dak Prescott versus Carolina. All tough matchups. So if they are in your year-long league, I mean, you got to start them unless you have a better option. But just be aware, Lamar, Daniel Jones, Dak Prescott, Tom Brady, Derek Carr, Matt Stafford, Pat Mahomes, all these guys do not have easy matchups. I mean, some of them are still going to perform on a high level, but understand that some of them might have some bad weeks, and it's because of the matchup. Moving on to running backs here. Who's got it in good? Who's got it in tough? Let's start it off with the guys that got it in tough. And he was getting a lot of flack, a lot of talk about him. But Zeke Elliott in week 1 and 2 looked okay. Week 3 started to do a little bit better. So Zeke Elliott, guys, has a tough matchup versus Carolina. Tony Pollard as well had a rough week last week, but Zeke proving that he's the guy. we're going to see this week. He's got it in tough. Other guys that got it in tough, a lot of people are excited about this guy, but Tyson Williams, I told you he's a one-week wonder. Be cautious with him. Sure enough, he's got it in tough. Aaron Jones has got it in tough this week versus Pittsburgh's rush defense. Dalvin Cook, who I don't know if he's even starting. I think he's questionable. If he does start, he's got it in tough versus Cleveland. Fourth hardest matchup for his position. My guy, Saquon Barkley's got it in tough against New Orleans rush defense, so I'm a little concerned there. Hopefully he gets the volume, some passes, and maybe even a touchdown to keep him afloat this week, okay? Chuba Hubbard, a lot of people starting him off the waiver wire, and they're saying, well, I got to start Chuba. Understandable, guys, but he does have it in a little bit tougher versus Dallas's rush defense. They should keep him neutralized to some degree. Again, sixth hardest matchup versus position. Mike Davis in Atlanta, Cordell Patterson, they've got it tough against Washington. Chase Edmonds, James Conner got it in tough as well. Guys that got it in easy. So if you are playing DFS, go back, check out my DFS show, but a couple episodes back. Elijah Mitchell, right? Anyone from San Fran's got it easy versus Seattle's rush defense. But again, be careful. Those guys are banged up and injured. Be careful. I think the volume's going to be limited. Jonathan Taylor, who's been ice cold the past 2 weeks. Naheem Hines getting the volume in week 3. Both these guys have it easy versus Miami. Very interesting matchup for these guys because it's a good one. But is Jonathan Taylor going to get that volume? And I told you, I knew he's a good talent. I get it. I knew Hines was going to be a pest, and I stated that in 16 rounds. Sure enough, he is, right? And that's why I was so hungry for Saquon or Najee, because those guys, they have no competition, right? Even with Nick Chubb, we saw it last week, Kareem Hunt getting hoarded, right? I mean, he's hoarding away that volume, 27 points to 8 points for Nick Chubb. It's a big difference. Miles Sanders has got it easy, guys. David Montgomery's got it easy, although suspect offense there, okay? So again, Miles Sanders easy, David Montgomery easy. Derrick Henry coming off, a pinnacle. I mean, it was an amazing week 2, 51 points, and a 22-pointer last week. Not bad. Good matchup. Fourth easiest versus position, okay? Melvin Gordon got it in easy. So does Javonte Williams this week. They are playing Baltimore's rush defense. Kenyon Drake, Josh Jacobs. Hopefully Josh Jacobs is back. If so, got it in easy. Peyton Barber came in and did pretty good, believe it or not, for a guy that sucks. 26 points for Peyton Barber. Unbelievable. Zach Moss has got an easy against Houston as well. Now, again, these guys are the easy matchup, so if you have to make a decision, make sure you understand that they have an easy matchup if you're trying to decide between two guys. A couple other honorable mentions for easy matchups: Alvin Kamara and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who redeemed himself with 20 points last week. Very good. Now you're asking, well, Austin Eckler, mid-range matchup for him. Michael Carter, mid-range matchup. Jamal Williams, mid-range matchup. Guys like that. Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, mid-range matchup this week. Antonio Gibson also as well. Not too hard, not too easy, but now you kind of know the differences. The guys that got it in tough, from a guy like Zeke to the guys that got it in super easy to a guy like, Jonathan Taylor. But you got to understand, guys, start your starters, but make sure that they're going to get that volume. Make sure that you're starting your best possible player. Look back 3 weeks, okay? Starts and sits is very important. It can make and break your team. Now, I've had great teams where, a couple of years ago, I had like Matt Ryan and Pat Mahomes when they were both kind of going off. And I'm like, who do I start this week? Or I was like, okay, I think it was Pat Mahomes, or who was it? It was Drew Brees and Matt Ryan, or one of these guys. And I'm like, who do I start? And 1 week, Matt Ryan would have a good week. And then I would end up starting Breeze over Ryan, and it would just be all over the place. So make sure you guys start the right person and feel the matchups as well. All right, moving on to wide receivers here. Let's rip through this. Guys that have got it in tough: Brandon Cooks, Tyreek Hill, who's been ice cold. First round pick. What a waste. And I explained that to you. He's very volatile. I stayed away from a wide receiver round 1, and it's proving to work out. Again, Tyreek Hill, 40 points week 1, then 6, then 11. Tailing off. He's seeing a lot of double coverage, and the other guys are getting work. Guys like Robinson and all the other guys, Fontaine or Pringle or whatever the hell their name is, they're getting a lot of work, right? So let's keep going. Those are the guys with tough matchups. Henry Ruggs got it in tough. Julio Jones and A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown's going to be out. Julio Jones is going to be out probably as well. So it's a disaster there. Like, who's starting? Is it Chester Rogers? Like, who's going to get the volume? It's going to be a lot of Derrick Henry time. It's going to be interesting, but those guys have it in tough. I would be avoiding any wide receiver either way from the Titans. It's just their wide receivers are gone. Anyone else starting there has it the fourth hardest matchup for his position. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, they've got it in tough. Adam Thielen and Jefferson, who've been pretty solid the entire season. Well, Thielen has been anyway. Jefferson had the big week last week. They are playing Cleveland secondary. They've got it in tough. CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, all those guys got it in tough with the Cowboys. They're playing Carolina. Carolina, surprisingly, a really good team this year. Marquis Brown's got it in tough versus Denver. Be aware of that. Cole Beasley, Houston secondary, Stephon Diggs, they've got it in tough. And Sanders going off last week. Diggs owners, I'm sorry, it was just a rough week. Sometimes it happens like that, but Sanders being the beneficiary last week and Beasley, and then obviously Diggs being the last of the trio in regards to points last week, but they got it in tough. 9th hardest versus position. A couple more tough matchups. Deontay Johnson, I believe he's questionable. Should be going. I think he's good to go. Playing Green Bay, 10th hardest matchup versus position. Let's go to the easy matchups at wide receiver. Jacoby Myers with New England and Tampa Bay. Very easy matchup. Him and Nelson Aguilar got an easy, but their points have not been phenomenal. Just because they have an easy matchup does not mean they're going to perform. As like Diggs has got it in tougher, it doesn't mean Jacoby Myers is going to outperform him, but you just need to be aware, right? Corey Davis has got it in easy versus Tennessee. Odell Beckham Jr., easy matchup versus Minnesota secondary. Be aware of that. Calvin Ridley, finally a good matchup for them. Let's see what Ridley does this week, okay? Devontae Parker, Jalen Waddell, easy matchups there. Miami playing Indy. Devonte Smith, I'm really excited about Jalen Hurts this week versus KC. This is going to be an exciting match to watch. KC versus Philly, and Philly's angry. Like I said, coming off that tough loss versus Dallas. Hopefully they get their offense going. This is the week to do it. Devontae Smith, Jalen Reagor, easy matchup versus position. Also, Devontae Adams coming off a super red-hot 2 weeks. Playing Pittsburgh secondary, he has a good matchup. DJ Moore, who's coming off a big week last week, shows he's a primary target. And this is where I was wrong on. I'm right about a lot of things so far. It's still early, but Najee, Saquon, James Robinson, all my guys looking good. You know, Robbie Anderson was the number one guy with Darnold, right? And he was number one last year. It's like, I don't know, he did something Darnold's girlfriend or something. I don't get it here. But Robbie Anderson was a non-factor in like week 3. Week 4, they've all got an easy matchup. We'll see if Anderson does anything, or is it still going to be the DJ Moore show, which is what it looks like, okay? Detroit. Like, can Amon-Ra St. Brown get going? Can any of these guys get going? Detroit receivers have a good matchup here versus Chicago, okay? Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp's been red hot. A guy suggested in 16 rounds, even ahead of Robert Woods. And coming off 4th, 5th round, he's the best wide receiver in fantasy right now. Easy matchup yet again. Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel. All these guys, great, easy matchups. Mid-range matchups, your Michael Pittmans from the Colts. You've got the Giants are mid-range matchups here. And, of course, the Broncos receivers playing Baltimore. All mid-range matchups, including Seattle's DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. In regards to difficulty, mid-range for all these guys. So, again, on the high end, from optimal matchups, you got your Odells. You got your New England wide receivers. You've got Atlanta receivers. Those are the guys on the easier end. Then you've got the guys that got it in tough. Your Tyreek, who's got it in tough. Your Raiders versus the Chargers, they've got it in tough. And, of course, Tennessee Titans and Tampa Bay Buccaneers playing New England, all tough matchups. So, yeah, you guys got a good feel. That's good. Hopefully, that's the whole point of this, right? And let's go to tight end here. I mean, this is pretty straightforward here with tight end. If you got a good tight end, start him. I'm not going to, debate it. Like, for example, TJ Hawkinson, Chicago plays tight ends a little bit tougher. He's got the 10th hardest matchup versus position. In year long, you're not going to sit him. Gronkowski, I think he's a little banged up. Check his status before he gets going. He's got the hardest matchup versus position against New England. Are you going to sit him? If he's your starting tight end, you start him. Kyle Pitts, mid-range matchup. I'm starting him, right? Logan Thomas, easy matchup. Travis Kelce, easy matchup. Darren Waller, easy matchup. George Kittle, if you want to start him, mid-range matchup if you're aware. Mark Andrews has got it in tough this week. But again, how do you sit Mark Andrews? He had 19 points last week. You don't. He's your starting tight end, but he's got the 4th hardest matchup versus position. Noah Fant, very easy matchup. And again, this is if you guys are torn between tight ends, you can make a better educated decision. Jared Cook, tough matchup. Let me see if there's any other big tight end names you should be aware of. Dallas Goddard, mid-range matchup. And those are it, man. George, like I said, Hawkinson, Gronk, Mark Andrews, tough. Kelce, Waller, easy. Kittle, middle. Those are the main guys you really got to be concerned about with the big names. Noah Fant, like I said, easy matchup. Mike Gesicki, a little bit of a tougher matchup. So again, guys, up to you guys to start the best people. Let's talk based on situation and matchup. Let's talk about defense real quick. Some optimal defensive plays if you're looking at streaming. Titans, easy matchup versus the Jets. Football team versus Atlanta, but you never know. Atlanta, any day they can go off. Colts versus Miami, easy matchup theoretically, but we'll see. I mean, we never know. Lions versus Chicago, again, could be a breakout game for any quarterback starting. Jets versus Tennessee because their wide receivers are banged up. Buccaneers versus New England, that could be a good defense. And Broncos versus Baltimore, but you never know with Lamar. Rams versus Arizona, Rams great defense, but we see Kyler Murray tearing it up. So there's some good matchups there for defenses, but you never really know. That's the thing, right? All right, guys, those are your starts and sits for fantasy football week 4. I can't believe it's week 4 already. This is crazy. Make sure, again, guys, you go to pristineauction.com, use code SWAGLION, create an account. You're entered for all the swag, all the draw, and follow story mode for the winners to be announced on Instagram at Fantasy Football Counselor. Thanks, guys, for being here. I appreciate you. Smash the thumbs up. Week 4 fantasy football is here. Let's go.